Hey guys, welcome back to our final match before the break on day 4 of Alliance Tournament 11. This is Sadistica Alliance versus the Kadeshi.
Yeah, and this will be a couple of interesting setups here. We have what looks like, let's see.
Vengeances versus a Scimitar.
Little Rattlesnake Sleipnir with a bunch of healers. So it's a quite high DPS setup from the Kadeshi there. Up against Kronos, Proteus, and a load of small stuff. But a lot of support, a lot of E-War. Actually, the Maulus and Blackbird will quite be a Crucifier tracking disruption.
I wonder if the Kadeshi team is kind of cool. I wonder if it's kind of a Gila Rush team. Like, you obviously have the option because of the sentry drones to kite, but they also, like, with a Sleipnir there, could be kind of for both. Really high DPS drone ships that kind of can do whatever you need them to.
The problem with the Sleipnir is going to be, in this case, the Crucifier, a tracking disrupting ship, has no one else really to track and disrupt besides the Sleipnir.
Yeah, it is kind of a weird ship in this comp, but I guess otherwise it would be a Claymore, and, like, you might as well have damage if they don't need a whole bunch of links, like if they're just bringing 2.
But he's not going to do a whole lot of damage with tracking disruption on him. Probably all of the tracking disruption
right,
Crucifier.
in this case.
Right. I mean, those frigates.
Can you tracking disrupt individual sentry drones?
I don't know if you can.
I don't either. I don't either, and I work here.
Right? I think you can jam them. I've heard that, but I don't know if that's 100% true. Kronos already at a low armor. That's a lot of DPS on the field for Kadeshi. Sadistica already in trouble. The Oneros has reps on. They're trying to jam and dampen him, but he is still successfully applying reps. Kronos is now webbed. He is in trouble.
And Kadeshi's Sleipnir is tackled, and as you said, has the tracking disruption. And you can see there, Proteus and Cronus getting right on top of him, so he'll start taking some damage, although for now it looks like he's tanking just fine. Whereas the Kronos kind of struggling, and the Onero starting to take some damage now too.
Yeah, this will be interesting. This is a bit of a DPS race. If that Kronos goes down, I don't see how Sadistica is going to stay in it. I've been wrong before, but that's just almost all of their eggs in one basket. Most of the DPS on their setup is in that Kronos. The Proteus is going to do about 2/3 the DPS of that Kronos, and then the support frigates are going to account for about the same amount as the Proteus, maybe a little bit more. Whereas the Sleipnir is not the full amount of DPS. The heal is actually just a ton of damage. So the Sleipnir right now is still repping pretty well. The Kronos is keeping up, and it looks like we may have some damage coming down on the Oneros of Sadistica. Not sure if they're going to try to switch primaries and get him off the field first, which may not be the worst decision in the world.
Yeah,
when they're way far ahead.
I think that's what's going on. I think that they've just put most of the drone damage, the guards from the Gilas, and the Rattlesnake onto that Oneros. Obviously, the Kronos is still taking some damage because he's repping and still kind of staying at about half armor, but
the
Oneros
is almost
bad.
out of shields, however. If he goes down, that is a lot of DPS off the field. There's no remote reps from the Scimitar. Did he maybe get out of range? What is going on there? He is not repping the Sleipnir now. He's back to repping Sleipnir, but he left off a couple cycles, maybe capped himself out. I don't know. He's got no E-War on him at all. Sleipnir's still clawing back a little bit of shields, but he has almost no armor left. Kronos is also out of armor and about to go into structure, however. This is quite the race. We'll see which one goes first.
I sort of think the Kronos is getting killed almost totally by the Sleipnir. I think most of the drones for the Kadeshi are actually on that Oneros.
Oh, he's still up there bleeding structure, and that is something to consider when you are tracking disrupted as a Sleipnir. The big target is the one to go after. It's probably the only one in the field he's going to hit very well, and that Sleipnir losing a little bit more structure with every cycle. Meanwhile, the Kronos is not really taking any damage. That Sleipnir is going to go down in one more volley, and he is down.
Sleipnir down.
Kronos is still alive for Sadistica. Now, the Kadeshi is a little bit in trouble. I think they still have quite a bit of damage, not quite as much as Sadistica.
They just need to finish the Oneros. He's so close to being dead, and they would have this easily if they could finish him off.
He's had a shield tank on that Oneros, and he's got ASB fit. I haven't seen him boosting.
Oh, maybe not. Maybe he's been taking like no damage, and I'm just stupid, and he's armor tank.
But the Kronos is bleeding into structure now.
That seems like the sensible explanation. Oh
but
my god.
The Kronos is bleeding into structure, just tiny little bits of armor coming back, it seems like, so that's quite a bit of DPS. Meanwhile, Sadistica is primarying the Scimitar, and I don't think he's going to be lasting very long, but if that Kronos goes down, not a whole lot of damage left on the field for Sadistica. Still a fair bit of damage left on the field for Kadeshi.
Ooh, they need to
And he is down. Okay. You see that attack bar shrink down.
You know what happened? They got a jam, I think, on the Oneros because the rep icon was off for a little while. It went right back on before he died, but of course the rep coming at the end of the cycle, and he went down.
So now they're back on the Oneros. It looks like the Oneros now taking a little bit of armor damage. Meanwhile, the Scimitar seems to be tanking for the moment, especially now that Kronos DPS, it's over 1,000. It's probably, 1,200 DPS that is now off the field.
God, I was locked in suspense thinking the Oneros was going to die for the whole first half of that match.
Wondering.
I was like, God, they got his shields out of the way so fast he could go any minute, but no, I'm just an idiot.
Yep, the Scimitar at half shield still tanking pretty comfortably, but not a lot of damage going around the field. Like the Oneros isn't taking much damage either.
Yeah, they have pretty much, like they have a Proteus. The Proteus is obviously not a Link Proteus because they have the Damnation there, so he's a primary damage
And
ship.
now they're getting ahead on the scimitars. They're beating out his tank. He may be
Yeah.
he may be reloading his ASB because he's not tanking at all anymore. There goes his armor. He's going to be losing structure here shortly, and there will be no scimitar left on the field for Kadeshi. Can this Hero Proteus and Ishkur comp here? Can they get through to Kadeshi what they got left on the field before they lose anything? It doesn't seem like there's any damage coming across the Sadistica team. I don't know what Kadeshi are doing. If there's only 2 of their ships jammed, one of which is a Mollis, like where's their damage?
That's a good question. I'm going to try to get to the bottom of that one for you, back in Alien. I think they're
Now,
going to
Merlin
struggle
down
to
for
find
Kadeshi?
targets. Like, they can put sentries on frigs, which
Take out the Blackbird. I mean, do you have
Yeah,
drones?
yeah.
The
That would be a
Blackbird
good one.
will
That'd be a good
volley.
put more pressure on the Oneros. Obviously, he's not tackled, but they're painting him. I think that must be what they're trying to shoot because of the painter. Meantime, Kadeshi losing ships back like all over the place. They lost 3 frigs kind of in quick succession there. And yeah, they're basically just down to the Rattlesnake and the Gilas, which they're having a hard time finding something they can actually do damage to.
Yeah, it's
I'm going to go have a
impressive. I
look
mean,
at the...
I know Ishkers and Vengeance can put out a fair... Actually, Ishkers can put out a fair bit of damage. Vengeance is a much lower DPS, but tankier assault frigate. But, 3 Gilas and a Rattlesnake, that's no slouch of DPS. That's a lot of damage to put out. I'm seeing who is that they're shooting there? Is that the Oneros still? It looks like a cruiser hull.
You know what I'm noticing now? There is just very few drones on the field. Oh, never mind. Sorry. Hang on.
Oh,
hang
the
on.
first Hela is starting to take damage.
My
half,
brain
half
is
shields
finally
and
collapsing.
dropping. Maul is taking a little bit of damage. I wonder if maybe Kadeshi aren't picking a proper damage type. The Oneros has extremely high thermal and kinetic resists, 90% range. Maybe he's just not taking any appreciable damage. First Mollis now for Sadistica is taking a giant chunk of his armor
Yeah,
gone.
they just switched all the guards over to that Mollis.
I bet they got landed a jam on the Oneros. Nope, here comes the rep, but I don't know. Are they going to be able to volley that structure? Meanwhile, the Hela lost his armor. He's going into structure. Looks like the Mollis got repped back up. And the Hela is down.
Wow.
So the Sadistica may actually get through this, only losing the Chronos. And a little bit of structure gone for the Mollis. There's still maybe
They
enough
have to
damage
switch
in the
again,
field.
like with reps on there now. And unless they get another jam, he probably will be just fine.
But which do you switch to? Maybe the Crucifier? I mean, there's nothing else is flimsy on
Yeah,
the field.
yeah.
Oh, here goes the Crucifier
But like
taking
that
shield
is
damage.
a worthless ship at this point in the match anyway. Like, what are they gonna?
Maybe the Mollis have some
Crucifier
autocannons,
is
I don't know.
the Tech 1 tracking disruption frigate, and there's nothing here to tracking disrupt.
Right,
so.
these are all missile or utility high slot boats that Mollis now still they're trying. They're
I
really
think
trying.
it's interesting that they're trying to kill a Mollis. Like, I know they're just trying to get kills, I guess, but Damps really aren't doing
How
anything
far off
either,
is
right?
The
Like,
Rattlesnake from the fight? Is perhaps he unable to apply his damage right now, and the Mollis is really being a
Maybe.
pest?
is the assigning range limited? Like,
well,
can he?
no, it's not. But the it's range limited by your drone control range, I believe. But the Rattlesnake does have missile launchers in its highs, and he's the
Sure,
only one damped. So
sure.
maybe he's saying, "Come on, help me out." and
Yeah, I
let
mean,
me-"
he's not shooting missiles. He probably can't lock himself. Like, there's probably not anything he can lock. Crucifier is down. Okay.
All right. Well, there's
In the
points.
meantime, another Hela got scrammed.
Yep, and that one is rapidly dropping. He's just not
Mhm.
going to keep up with the amount of damage.
I think Sadistica have a lock now. I mean, they probably have for a couple minutes, but that was a weird match. It
it
seemed
really
like
was. I thought Kadeshi had the huge upper hand in TPS,
I
and
mean,
it
it was
just
mostly a weird
didn't.
match because I'm too dumb to have any idea what's going on. But yeah, I don't know. It seemed like they should have been in good shape, but I don't know if it was the target calling. I don't know if it was some E-War giving them trouble. I mean, there is the Blackbird there for Sadistica. It could have been that they just weren't able to get drones assigned in an organized and quick way, and so their DPS was kind of scattered. They're now getting damage on the Blackbird.
They're finally shooting the Blackbird. Too late, though,
All
I
right,
think.
well, another kill. That'll free up some of their targeting, but now they just have 2 ships left, really. So
Sadistica actually 60 points. Yeah, Kadeshi 35. Kadeshi.
yeah, Kadeshi's going to be
2 minutes left.
out.
What do they take down to get back? I mean, they need
And this is losers bracket, of
25
course.
points, right?
Yeah.
So they're out of the
So
tournament.
Kadeshi will be out of the tournament. Most of the last few matches were elimination matches, so any of the teams that lost are done.
And right now they'll get, 20 points if they get all the frigates down. It won't be enough. That'll put them at 55. They'll still need to get one of the
and
big ships down. You
killing
have
the
to get
assault
Oneros
frigs
or
is going to
Proteus.
be so much more difficult than killing those
Oh,
E-War
yeah.
frigs,
A minute
too.
42 with what little DPS they have left on the field. They might get an Ishkur. They might get 2 Ishkurs, but they're not going to get all 4 assault frigates and the Oneros at this point. This is just desperation from them. I mean, what else? You can't surrender or anything, fly out of the arena, I guess. But Rattlesnake now taking huge chunks. Look at that thing go. It's at half shields, dropping fairly steadily. And still really, I mean, Ishkur down on the Sadistica Alliance side there, 39 points now for the Kadeshi, but that Rattlesnake goes down. It's 80 points for Sadistica, and that will be it. He's about to start bleeding armor. His ASB just can't keep up with the DPS, and I'm surprised. I would not have picked 2 Ishkurs, 2 Vengeance, and a Proteus to have enough damage to just tear through a Rattlesnake like this, much less the rest of that comp. And they did it very effectively, even under the Scimitar reps for quite a while.
Yeah, I don't know.
50 seconds left. Rattlesnake low shields. Rattlesnake should be bleeding armor momentarily. Let's see if they get him down before the end of this. It'll be a nice expensive shiny kill for him to put up on their kill board, help their efficiency and all that good stuff. Ishkurin, no shields, about to start bleeding armor for Sadistica here. Rattlesnake now completely stripped of shields into armor.
Yep.
He's pulling back little tiny hairs of shields, but not enough. And 20 seconds. Can they do it? 25, I should say.
Probably not quite. Damage was never like incredibly high for the Sadistica team, but it seemed like they just won the E-Ward battle and the positioning battle and were able to wear them down over time. So
indeed, and so that Rattlesnake is now bleeding structure. He will be off the field maybe before the timer. He's got a damage control, it looks like.
So, guys, this is our last match before the break today. We're going to take a short one to grab some food, and then we'll be right back. We know we're a little behind schedule. We had some matches get delayed earlier, and we had to do the echo test at the start as well. But that's Sadistica beating Kadeshi. We'll see you guys back shortly and have about 12 more matches, I think.
Yep, sounds good. I'll see you guys soon.